there, so we'll see who shows up, if any. Otherwise, we'll just play.
Okay. All right. Super great. I'm going to, away from the microphone, I'm going to just do my little chime here. Hoo wee! Hello, everybody. This is Ariel Ascher, and I'm here today with my friend, Deborah Paradis.
There it is.
Is there an N? Is there an E at the end of
No,
that? There's
just
not.
there it
There's
is.
not. There's not. And we have decided today that we just were going to get together and invite some angelic energies into play so that we can just hold space for getting some messages and some clearance and some perspective as to what's going on. What is going on in your neck of the woods, Deborah?
It's been very interesting. It's been very toasty up here. So
Yeah.
actually, the first part of the week, I we went to Pacifica to be at the ocean because it was 107 here.
Oh my gosh, sweltering hot.
Yes.
It's been pretty toasty here. We haven't hit those kind of highs, but it has been pretty toasty here. And I have noticed I've had this weird thing. I didn't know whether it was the heat or I was even concerned. I was trying to identify something that I've eaten, but I noticed that my ankles like got a little bit swelly. I wasn't sure whether that was the heat or what was going on, so I had to clear a little bit of that stuff over the last couple days, which was interesting. That's not a usual one for me. But I'm pulling some cards here to see like just what's in the stratosphere and what's going on and what the angels would like us to know or deliver messages. I'm getting some interesting stuff over here on my end, and you can tell me what you're getting over on your end, Deborah. I'm starting out with a big hello from heaven with Archangel Azrael. That's
Ooh.
interesting energy. I always wonder who's coming through. For me, usually it's my grandmother. That's the person that I connect with the most on the other side. But other than that, I do get that howdy do from Archangel Azrael, and then I chose two more cards, and both of them I always find this interesting. I got Archangel Raziel, so we've got all that esoteric clairvoyance and spiritual understanding, all that esoteric energy coming through. And I know that you sprayed some Archangel Metatron right before we started. So we have some like magical, mystical stuff brewing here. What are you getting over on your side?
You know what? I thought I might actually pull a shadow card and maybe see if there's any information for us on the shadow side today. And
I love that.
the shadow is kind of misunderstood. So, in order to have light, you have to have dark, and in order to have dark, you have to have light. So, I thought I might spray a little bit of the U bottle so that we can access that information from the color shadow cards. And it actually looks like a purple. It's called the U. It's the black pearl through color mirrors. And then the U bottle is actually a white pearl, and it allows us to integrate that information that we are receiving. So I'll spray a little bit of that as well. And then I will pull a card for us, and we'll just see what is going on with all of us as a collective. And interestingly enough, we have passive aggressive coming up. So
Mm.
I always like to read the positive first. So it says, I am consciously aware of my energy and I am always transparent. So it says it's a pale copper color, and it says your time delay games cause stress, or your hidden emotions are like psychic attacks. So I guess we just want to beware of where we might be playing passive aggressive, and that might also be unconscious.
something lights up for me. Something I was noticing on an online conversation um, that I was looking at the other day, Deborah, and and a lot of the practitioners that I work with and that I follow are all, we're trying to assist people and to be more trauma informed, et cetera, et cetera. And there was this one coach that I really liked everything that she was saying, but it was coming out as angry. I agreed with everything she was saying, but it was coming out as angry. And I was wondering, is that what you mean by passive aggressive when it has like that undercurrent there? Because I found it interesting. She's a healer and she's trying to raise up, but she was doing it by shaming another coach, saying that that coach was re-traumatizing people, but isn't then she perpetuating that by calling out that coach? And that kind of it's a judgment thing, right?
Right. Well, and passive aggressive too is like, for instance, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just going to be quiet and I'm going to
a
hold it
withholding.
in, and I'm withholding. Or,
Mm.
you know, I'm going to play like everything's okay, but it really isn't. And then that underlying current of that energy is flowing around in the stratospheres. And so, um, we all have all of the archetypes of the shadow in our unconscious, and it just depends on the situation that activates them. So they're not something new.
Yeah.
And
Well, of
so,
course they're not. Well, I'm not saying that they're not. I'm giving an
yeah,
example, of course,
yeah,
of
yeah,
um yeah, I just thought yeah, because when we point something when we point at somebody or judging somebody, it's like that old saying, if we point at somebody, there's those three fingers coming back at us, right?
right. I was going to take a look at a little bit more information on um, on this card for to see if we can get a little bit more information. So one of the highest spiritual learning principles for this particular card is to feel in the moment every emotion and to feel safe enough to express your responses when you feel them. Mastering your emotional body is one of the reasons we incarnated, and to feel with awareness all the emotions through a physical body. So the passive aggressive archetype may mean that your shadow bites, barks, strangles, and stabs without you even knowing you're doing it. It has you punish, betray, or set up drama so that others will be at the receiving end to feel the pain that you once experienced. So, with all of this stress and pandemic and the war in Ukraine, and I mean, people are just stressed.
Not to mention the country going backwards 50
Yes,
years for women's rights. And now, if you don't like that, then you can also carry a gun. So all of that's going on. That's like, that's the ultimate passive aggressive, right? I mean,
right.
that's
So we
pretty,
just have to call forth, our angels to work with us. And um, I might just spray us some of the rose pink, which is the divine feminine. And it's also about nurturing ourselves and really putting ourselves first and making sure that we are nurturing ourselves first, taking care of ourselves first, so that situations like that may not come up. The more happy that we're with ourselves, the more that we're pampering and taking care of ourselves, the more we will not be activated by some of that.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I just find it interesting right now that we're working with the divine feminine in this time and have been for the last just for months. Like really the divine feminine has been coming up and so many people are talking about ushering in the divine feminine, and she arrived just in time to get kind of good and angry and activated. She is, so so I'm just wondering what kind of uprising we're going to see with women, with reproductive rights. I won't even, the gun issue is off the table for me. I don't even want to talk about that. I think that's just crazy talk. But I just think it's so interesting at this time when we're ushering in all of this divine feminine energy, that something so massively triggering for generations of women has happened at this particular moment.
I thought I might just pull a goddess guidance card and see what we might get
Yeah.
for information on
What does
that.
she say?
Yes. So these are
What's
just
she got to
lovely
say?
cards. So I'm going to see. Oh, boy, this one just flew right out of the deck.
Oh, she really wants to get heard here, huh?
Hathor, receptivity.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Allow yourself to receive. This will increase your intuition, your energy, and your ability to give to others. And isn't that was kind of that was the message from the rose pink bottle, which is
Yeah,
really about giving
absolutely.
to yourself first. And we can only love it right. We can't fight it right. So, however, this change is going to come about, because I see this being reversed. I see that decision being
Yeah.
reversed.
Yeah.
And I see it being reversed in a loving manner. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but the more that we can tap into that and hold that energy, that will come about with grace and ease. Because we know from the past that, you know, fighting against it is not going to assist it coming forth with ease and grace.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we come full circle. It's right back where we started. Also, let's talk about Hathor, because Hathor is a really interesting energy. I just spent a week long retreat at the Rosicrucians over at the Rosicrucian park, and got to tour the museum, and it's just lovely there. And I really soaked up a lot of that Hathor and Isis energy. I love Hathor. Hathor, of course, being also the goddess of sound and frequency, really the arts, bringing the arts and all of that, those feminine qualities, arts and humanities in to play. So I'm all about that, relaxing in some good vibrations, in some of that mama cow energy,
Yes,
good, good Hathor mama cow energy.
I'm so excited that you got a chance to do that. I've been in the Rosicrucian Museum and parts of the buildings as well. When I lived down in San Jose, it's just very calming and very grounding, and very
it's
sacred grounds.
it's really phenomenal how much energy I've always been drawn to the park. I have a home close to that area, and I used to walk around those grounds quite frequently. And only recently joined the Order of the Rosicrucians, and just had a wonderful retreat last week with everybody. But we got to take my favorite part was. We took a nature walk around the grounds, and the groundskeeper there gave us a personal tour and told us about the plants. And I thought about plants in a little bit different way than I have before. And the part of plants that got me really interested were root systems. And that I had never really thought of plants this way. I always think of the plants, the part that's coming out of the ground, right? And of course, lots of meditation teachers, we have our tree of life, and we know there's a vast root system. But what I didn't know is that the trees heal and help each other by emitting enzymes into the soil to ward off any threats that are in the area, which I just found absolutely fascinating. I had never met anybody that had spoken with such expertise on plants to me and given me a whole tour and everything. And that was just so fascinating. And even though it was very technical and scientific and everything, I felt so much closer to nature and so much. Um, even more in awe of nature, about that circuitry, the invisible circuitry and connection that was going on. Just like humans are energetic connections, that we don't really see, but that whole structure of roots and and it's shifted my thinking a lot of plants. Um, which I thought I was pretty open minded. I'm not against plants in any way. I love plants, but I just got a deeper understanding of the functionality and what level of consciousness they were playing at. And I think I was not giving them enough credit for how well they communicate. So that's what I got out of my time at my retreat that I thought was significant.
And that's so interesting because you can lead that right back to like the root system and the consciousness and the energetics of the human population as well.
Yeah.
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 And how we're really all really interconnected at such a much deeper level than most people are aware of or even stop to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really got how sensitive plants were. Being an empath, and I sort of, and tell me what you think of this, but the information that I was receiving was that the root system is almost like our fascia, like the neural net through like that
Yes.
sensitivity wise, right? And I had this sort of awakening and congruent thought about how the fascia spreads in and through, and how those energy connections work. We're talking about emotions and passive aggressiveness. To me, the fascia is the part that like gets reactive, that holds all, and probably inflammation too, right?
Right.
But the sensitivity of when people get overstrung or in that passive aggressive state, right? I don't know. I'm just guessing. I just let the channels come. I just let the information come through. This is where I'm headed today. But anyway, I just had that great insight about the fascia and the root system. I felt like there was a connection there that this human brain wanted to make. Anyway, anything else on Hathor you want to tell us about,
I was
Deborah?
going to just see if I could look what um, the cards are from Doreen Virtue, and so
Mm.
I just thought I might take a quick peek on what she was saying on Hathor. Um, I just really like that it's reminding us to be receptive and open, and how we can do that is making sure that we are being true to ourselves as well.
Mm. I like that. I think all of the cards that we're sort of touching upon here, besides our hello from heaven here, are all about self healing and all about self care and self healing and like you said, nurturing and spending time with that inner
That
good
inner
cow,
self.
good cow mama, right? The good nurturing mama part.
So the message from Hathor on this one is you have a material side to you that naturally cares for those in need, yet this must be balanced with receptivity or the flow is blocked. Receiving is the essence of feminine energy, and it means allowing yourself to receive with grace and gratitude.
Mm.
If you feel guilty when asking others for help, or if you feel bad about receiving gifts, then you're blocking that divine feminine energy. Your receptivity is just as natural as your nurturing, giving energy. Receptivity allows you to better hear the voices of the angels. And when you receive, you have more resources to give. Begin by noticing the hundreds of gifts you receive each day, whether it's seeing beauty in nature, witnessing, touching a human moment, or being hugged by a loved one. Simply saying thank you for each gift and know that they're filling up your storehouse and keeping that divine flow flowing strong. Well, isn't that interesting that I started off Metatron? So when you look farther at Metatron, Metatron is about connecting to the source or connecting to
Mm.
that divine feminine. Then Metatron's also about reminding you to not overdo, overbe, overgive, or get stuck in. The lady who created these bottles, Melissa Jolly out of South Africa, she calls this bottle the don't get stuck in the cosmic titty syndrome, where you're trying to take care of and feed the world first before you take care of and feed you first. Isn't that interesting? So this kind of
Mm.
kicked off the whole reading about the hello card, the Hathor card, the passive aggressive. You can be passive aggressive also by playing the martyr. And I have to do this because I think I have to do this. When you
Mm.
don't have to do it, it's just a matter of saying what works and what doesn't and setting those boundaries.
Mm. I love that. And what I oh, something I wanted to say also about that, it's that the the victim and perpetrator cycle, or the victim, the giving, well, we'll call it giving and giving and receiving, negative or positive energy, right?
Right.
Negative or positive energy. We need to like keep the flow going, or you get anywhere in the flow, negative, positive, anywhere you can get stuck, right?
And that's also, you can't have light without dark. You can have dark without light. So all of that is
Correct.
that balance, that yin, that yang.
I love that. Hold up that other bottle that you just had. I love that. Look, it's the same color as my dress. Wait, the
Yeah.
other one, not the dark and the light
Oh,
one, the pink one that you just held up there. Oh yeah, I love that one. See, I've
yeah. That,
I've got my this one. I love that sort of magenta color. I've worked with that color with you before. I like that one a lot.
and so this is Metatron, and then this
Oh,
is
the
rose pink.
Metatron.
So the rose
Oh, I
pink is a
got you.
little lighter version of the Metatron. And so the lighter the colors with the color mirrors, the more intense. And this one is just really about the mothering issues. But most importantly, it's how are we mothering and nurturing and taking care of ourselves? And how can we model that and show our children? Because I when I grew up, it was, there was nobody saying go ahead and take care of yourself first. It was like take care
Oh,
of
right.
everybody else around you first, and then maybe if you've got some time, take care of you.
Deborah, I want to say more about that too, because I was thinking when we were talking, when you were saying, it's okay to have your feelings and to feel them. And as an empath growing up, it was not okay for me to talk about my feelings, my family. And I was thinking also when you were talking about the passive aggressiveness, I used to joke when I used to do a lot of stand up comedy that my family's favorite sport was passive aggressiveness. Right? It's not really a funny joke these days, but that kind of unspoken anger
Right,
that sort of percolates over the top, right? Whether it's seen or unseen, or even on purpose or not purpose, like you said, whether it's conscious or unconscious, right? It
right.
can be a very unconscious it can be a very unconscious kind of thing.
And
Yeah.
like a habit, it just gets turned on automatically without you even being aware of it coming out and happening.
Mm,
So
mm.
really just tuning in and listening more to yourself and what is making you happy is going to then allow the whole planet to become more happy, because it really has to come from within.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Um, really focusing from the inside. I think I've got when I was pulling cards here, I got two of this Archangel Raziel cards, and for me, that esoteric information that comes with Raziel, that kind of hocus pocus. I always call him the wizard angel, right? The sparkly, magical energy that comes with that kind of grace, um, is. almost what comes out of your color mirrors. I really think that that kind of energy is or alchemical energy is what happens when you squirt the color mirrors.
Yes. One
So,
of my
I know
favorite,
that's a weird distorted thought form for from me, but I just was trying to get at Raziel. To me, infuses that the magic into things.
well, and interesting enough, I have one called Big Magic.
Oh, okay.
It's called Big Love and Magic, and it's an olive green. So I'll spray some. And
Can you hold it
this,
near the camera too so I can see the shade?
yeah, isn't that
I love
pretty?
that part. Oh, wow. It's very
And so
soft color.
olive is all about, again, the divine feminine, stepping up into that feminine leadership role with ease and grace and love versus anger and trying to fight it right. We can learn how to love it right. And as we continue doing that, it will help shift the planet. And one of the interesting things I've learned last week was I upgraded my Reiki. I've been a Reiki master teacher for over 35 years, and I upgraded it to Holy Fire Reiki in March of
Oh, yeah.
2022. They upgraded the Holy Fire Reiki to World Peace Holy Fire Reiki, which then activates that divine feminine. And so I find it fascinating that the bottles that I work with activate that divine feminine. The Holy Fire activates the divine feminine, and both of them are overseen by Melchizedek, which is the healing sacred geometry light. And so,
I would say Archangel Raziel and Melchizedek are definitely associated, though, wouldn't
yes,
you? Yeah.
yes. If I had some Melchizedek, which I don't have right at the moment, I would spray some. But yes, it's the same energy, and I find that it's fascinating that it's coming out in different areas of different things that I'm working with and teaching and assisting
It's
others.
It's wonderful. Well, I think just the light is, we have never been at a higher consciousness level, despite what is playing out on our world stage, right? We have never been closer to the light, and we have never, been at this level before. My guides intuitively, like you, they say, my guides just say, it's not the end yet. This is just the middle. This is not the end yet. Don't get attached to outcomes at this point. Just right. So I'm trying to watch everything like it's a good movie instead of getting activated by it. Right.
And people tend to forget that we signed up for this. We signed up for the the laws to be changed so that we could see what happens when that happens so that we can then help swing the pendulum back to the other way with ease and love and grace. So we all decided
Right.
to come and play this game of life and see what happens when this happens, how do we react when that happens, and how can we make it work with more of that ease and grace. So um, it's
Absolutely. I was just I forget who I was talking to the other day, but I was talking about how 20 years ago I had a group of teachers that I would be working with and everything, and they kept saying, "Isn't this an interesting time to be alive?" And this interesting awakening. And I thought, well, it's really not that interesting. I don't really get it. But now I am one of those teachers saying, "Isn't this the most amazing time to be alive? And look what's happening." Um, it's kind of an interesting perspective. I was laughing with another one of my intuitive friends how 20 years ago I was like, what are they talking about? Like, okay, that was cool, I guess, but geez. And then who knew the meat and potatoes were still to come, right?
right. And another tool that I find really interesting to work with that really helps clear that shadow side is to work with Brad Yates, which is one of my favorite EFT practitioner teachers. And
Oh.
when we work with that and we tap and we follow along with him, what we're doing is we're bypassing that ego, getting into the unconscious and clearing those patterns and beliefs that we carry with us. So it's good to do that every single day and have like a spiritual cleanse, just like we shower, we brush our teeth, all of that. So that's another easy complementary tool to add to the bottles, to add to the bowls, to add to the music, to add to our meditation, whatever we find that's going to assist us in lightening up that energy.
Absolutely. I like that doing some somatic vacuuming, right? Like getting some, like, for me, I know, I'm teaching Pilates these days, and that movement when people are stretching out the physical tissue and moving the physical tissue to get all of the hormones out of the tissue and debris from all the emotions, because of course any emotion we have is just a cocktail that our endocrine system is spitting out, and we get in these patterns, like you said, even addicted to our own emotions, our own
Right.
patterns, when these particular, the different endocrine centers fire off a cocktail of emotions, and say oxytocin, right? Really great. Dopamine, really great. Some of the other ones, cortisol, oh, not so great, right? But the stuff that gets fired off into the issues in our tissues, that we have to deal with. But I do love you can make such a monumental change in just a moment, right? By changing a mindset or whatever, and everything, the whole gestalt just sort of dissolves. I love this that I love these color mirrors that you're working with, because they go to that limbic system in the brain, right? They go straight in there, and whether you know or not, or whether your conscious mind analyzes it or not, it just kind of infuses, like we said, that Melchizedek magical energy into your system. You get it, whether you know you get it, or it kind of doesn't matter what your ego thinks or what your conscious mind thinks. You get it.
Well,
You
I
get what
think
you need.
the wonderful thing about these is that the sprays will work with the electrical magnetic system. And so I
Mm.
can work with the dowsing rods, check somebody's chakras, they're not balanced, choose one or two of the sprays, spray it either in person or long distance, and I can retest their chakras and they're immediately balanced. And some people can feel the shifts and some can't.
I bet some can even smell the smells.
Some
I'm
can
I
smell the smell, or if I was using metal, sometimes I can actually taste that metal in their mouth.
mm, hmm
And then if we were to work with the bath bottles that are the ones behind me, these work with the conscious and this works with the unconscious. And so you would bathe in these and they would take a little bit longer because they would actually go down to like the language of the DNA level. And if you don't
mm.
have a bathtub, you meditate with it, you can rub it on you. These are life force. They bubble, they churn, they change colors, they change scents. Sometimes the bottles explode. They have a life force.
Sometimes they
And
get angry, passive
they will
aggressive.
do whatever they need to do to get your attention. I,
Yeah.
I was meditating with one of the bottles the other day and it imploded on me.
Did it really? That is
And it was an
crazy.
I am bottle. So it really wanted to get my attention
An
about.
I am bottle exploded on you. That's big, Deborah. That's some big mojo right there.
Yes. I wanted to really get my attention about, am I really tapping into that I am energy, and am I walking my talk, and am I living what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I from this perspective, from this reflection, you are, Deborah. Yeah. So I know there's always doubts in the stuff that goes on inside our heads is a different story. But from my perspective and according to this reflection, you're totally doing your work, and it's wonderful to be able to play angels with you and to be able to bask in that knowledge of the color mirrors and healing of the soul and all the fine energy work that you do. So, what should we leave everybody with today after our long and meandering angel conversation today? What overriding message should we leave our audience with today?
I think maybe I'll spray a little bit of the platinum angel because it's like the oneness angel, and just allow people to feel confident enough to take that step, to set their boundaries, to check in and say, hey, do I really want to do this? Or am I doing it because I am in the habit of doing it? Or I feel I have to do
Mm,
it? Doesn't
mm,
mean that you can't do it, but check in and see what's motivating you. And if you're doing it because you want to, that is going to also show that in your energetic field, and it will allow you to do whatever you're doing with more positive, uplifting energy versus that passive aggressive energy because I feel I have to do it and I can't say no.
right, right.
Yeah.
I love all of that. I think it's wonderful. Boundary setting is really good. It's something that myself as an empath, I still struggle with it, right? I'm also a perpetual healer. I mean, I just love a good I'm a creative and a healer, so I've got to be careful of those boundaries because I'll just go right in when I see something, and that doesn't mean that it's everybody's highest interest. So the card that I just drew for everybody, you're going to love this. I got crystal clear intentions. And
I,
I think that focus is that focus on the not focus, focus on the self-care, the nurturing, the rest and reset, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, allowing your clairaudient hearing, allowing your messages to be received, like the Hathor energy that we were talking about. Now, this particular one from my Doreen Virtue deck is Crystal Clear Intentions. It's Archangel Michael, and
oh,
I will say about this one, Archangel Michael, like really, it's almost like the boundaries that we were talking about. Cast out any discordant energies that are not in your highest and best good. Really only be in the energy and in the doing of the things that make your heart truly sing and bring you nurturing and divine essence.
right. And
So
I actually have a Archangel Michael, so I'll spray a little bit of Archangel Michael.
let's have at.
He's a little bit light blue, and he also is the sword of protection. And he
Mm,
also, I think, gives you the confidence to speak your truth. I love.
mm. Crystal clear intention. Be clear about what you desire and focus upon it with unwavering faith.
Yes.
Right? So that's
Isn't that
beautiful.
interesting how this whole story weaves itself between the cards and the color mirrors and the bottles and whatever else was going on? So it's just so lovely how everything meshes together with ease and grace.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's an honor and a pleasure to weave this angel story with you today,
Oh, it's
Deborah.
my
It's wonderful, wonderful to play with you. And we will, of course, take this recording and put it on the podcast and propagate it out there so that people can get this energy anytime. And we'd love to hear your comments or questions about that shadow energy of that burnout, sort of passive aggressive energy, misplaced emotions, maybe, um, or maybe just lacking intention or guidance as this Archangel Michael energy is coming, help us focus things in with laser focused intent. Anyway, we would love to hear what you think about anything. Direct any of your questions to myself, Aeriol, or of course, Debra. And we would love to play angels and to assist you in your unfolding. So, all right, Debra, do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Thank you, everyone. This was such a fun event, and we would love to get together and play again. So let us know what you are, wanting assistance with.
Yeah, what do you like? What do you like? What do you want more of? Debra and I would certainly love to assist you on any of those levels. Thanks, everybody. Bye bye.
Thank you.